This year's International Motorcycle Show held the promise of what could very well be a banner new model year for everything from super bikes to entry-level machines to reimagined and restyled scramblers, adventure bikes, and hyper street fighters. Ducati North America's CEO Jason Chinnock was on hand and refreshingly available to answer our questions on the direction Ducati is going with their new model lineup, but also the direction of the brand as a whole. So much so that we couldn't fit the whole interview in our coverage of the IMS show. So with that, here's Jason getting a little more detailed about Ducati's intentions for racing in the United States and abroad, as well as Ducati's take on how to bring new blood into motorcycling.
The next natural question is, okay, World Superbike is the obvious place to see this in, but Moto America, there's no Ducati representation in Moto America. What are we, if anything, are we going to see anything there, or how would we see something there?
So we've seen a lot of teams over the course of the last year, this summer specifically, when the rumors of this bike leaked out. I mean, everybody knows when we bring a new superbike to market, it's inevitable that a R spec version will come. And for Ducati, when we go to race, we are a company that sells about 45,000 motorcycles globally compared to, let's say, a lot of people that are competing at a much larger level. So in order for us to be competitive on that world stage and World Superbike and MotoGP, it takes everything we've got in order to be there and to stay there. So when we look at efforts that we have in, let's say, North America or even in the UK, where Ducati's racing the British Superbike Series, the field is actually out there with privateers. So this is something that when you think about a motorcycle like this, that is built very close to the World Superbike spec at a price point of $40,000, it provides accessibility for people to get out there and to race these things. And so we've talked to a few different teams in Moto America this last year. Right now, I can't say with confidence that we had anything locked down for 2019, but we're excited to be able to see the possibility of where we'll see this bike. Quite candidly, I anticipate we'll see it develop its way through club racing, and next year you'll even see Ducati will have a much more comprehensive grassroots racing approach so that we can encourage people to kind of develop through the ranks of racing through North America, whether it be through things in Moto America or ARMA, to the point where we actually get to see a Ducati at the top of the box in Superbike. Because quite candidly, unless we know we've got a team and a rider to go be competitive and race, it's not just enough to show up.
Sure.
We've got other things to do than to show up. We want to win.
So the Panigale in racing is up here when it comes to motorcycling. Let's change subjects altogether, and actually I'll even get off the Panigale, and hopefully I can integrate you guys into the conversation too. But Panigale in racing is up here. How do we get more butts in seats in the first place?
There's a couple things that we do. One of them is through product. Making product that's accessible to people, making product that maybe isn't, you look at a motorcycle like this and you realize this is a serious motorcycle. This is something that it's the halo, it's the aspiration, it's the top of the food chain of motorcycling, and any motorcycle, let's say, in this category. But not many people come from, let's say, experience of riding a bicycle and jumping to something like this. So the idea is to inspire people, and you inspire people not only just through product, but also through realizing that it could be an extension of their lifestyle. And for us, the Scrambler brand has actually been something that's been very successful in that. In fact, looking at the new Scrambler lineup that we have this year in the 800s, the Scrambler has proven for us to be a product and a brand. In fact, we separate even outside of the world of Ducati that has brought more returning riders into Ducati, because we survey all of our customers that buy the bike. So we've seen a large number of returning riders. We've seen the largest number for Ducati in terms of brand new riders, and 3 times the average of women riders come in through the Scrambler brand. And the idea is that it's an unintimidating, approachable brand and product.
It's very friendly.
Exactly. In fact, I ride a desert sled. I commute on a desert sled quite regularly. When I ride that thing, I pull up to a stoplight and people look at it and they smile. It's like it brings this, we say, land of joy, because it just makes people happy seeing a fun motorcycle that doesn't take itself too seriously. Because I have a feeling that even the 4 of us here, we're in the motorcycling business. We take motorcycling seriously because we love it and it's our life. But maybe not everybody is that way, or maybe they don't start that way. No, hard to believe. But I didn't start that way.
No.
I started like experimenting because my
Sure.
parents told me it wasn't something, it was dangerous, and so it sounded exciting. So
Yeah.
I had to get more
Gotta
involved.
do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this, not everybody is motivated that way. And so product is a part of it, but how we bring the product to market as well. So we can build cool looking bikes that look unintimidating and exciting and accessible, but then also we don't typically bring our Scrambler brand to motorcycle events. Like we're here at the Motorcycle Show in Long Beach because motorcyclists come here, but we make it a point to take these outside of the world of motorcycling and to make the brand accessible and approachable, let's say at a surf contest. We did the Surf Rodeo in Ventura last year. We did the Crush Walls Art Festival, which is a street art festival in Denver. And you have this brand that doesn't intimidate people, that get excited about it. And in fact, we even have outside a dyno where people get a chance to, we call it get into gear, get onto a Scrambler 62 and go through the gears and see what it feels like even to shift. And it's to remove those barriers of intimidation. So I think that sometimes as motorcyclists we can get a bit insulated. At the end of the day, while people have thought of Ducati as an exclusive brand, I disagree. And I've even had arguments with some of our clientele that way. But I look at it like, if you went to an amazing restaurant, you want to tell people about it. And you want to invite them there, even though you know it might screw up you getting a table there the next time. For me, I see our brand as that as well. And Scrambler gives us that access to that world. So there are a lot of other things that can be done, but we used to think that we're further up the food chain and we didn't have a responsibility in that. But I think that it's really important that as a motorcycle manufacturer, in order to build a future for other riders, we do that. And it's not about younger riders or getting millennials. I've heard some of that said in the past. It's about getting people that are interested in motorcycling. I don't care the age.
Do you find that the link between Ducati being an aspirational brand and the ease of the Scrambler being part of what the secret sauce that makes the two go together?
I absolutely think so, because we do, the brand, the name has recognition and awareness, and that's very helpful. I mean, I travel a lot for a living, as you can imagine, and I'm wearing this Ducati shield on my chest on almost every flight that I'm on. And I have people that spark up a conversation and got some story to tell, and there's this perception that every Ducati is $25,000 to get into it. You have to have the valves adjusted every 6,000 miles. And
that long?
Yeah, exactly. And the reality is that we have motorcycles that are under $10,000, and we have service intervals that start at 18,000 miles, which is class leading. It's industry leading. So there's a benefit of being, of having the cachet of being this super bike brand and a sport motorcycle brand for creating attention and awareness. But there's also the Achilles heel is that that's all people know you for. So this has allowed us to remove some of those barriers, not just to us, but to motorcycling as a whole. And we've seen even by the use of motorcycling in movies, getting it out there into the general public, into the mainstream through influencers that aren't motorcyclists, through some projects that we've done, like the Maverick Scrambler project we did a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, those sorts of things are to get outside of our world, because we all know motorcycles really well. In fact, my marketing director, she's new to motorcycling. She just got her license a couple months ago.
Awesome.
And 3 of the people in my marketing team, the same thing. In fact, women all learning how to ride. And I think that we've got a company full of motorcycle enthusiasts that can talk about the valve specs on these motorcycles that honestly, between the 4 of us, nobody else cares.
Yeah.
It's how do we get more people on bikes, and how do we grow the sport and the brands to do that?
Yeah, Panigale, love it, great. Love being on a racetrack with it, but away from the racetrack, I want nothing to do with that bike. Not an insult to the bike, it's just when I want to just ride around and have fun with my friends and go get something to eat, I'd rather hop on a Scrambler or pretty much anything else in this booth.
Yeah.
than a
Hyper
Panigale.
Motard.
Yeah,
Okay,
cut. Perfect. we need to leave.
Well, you get arrested on that, but
Well, you pick your poison, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a concern. How do we get more butts in seats? It's cool to see different manufacturers have different methods of doing that. And I've just personally, anecdotally, within my own town, seen a couple people on Scramblers riding around. So something's working.
Yeah, I think one of the key things, it is product we talked about, but we as motorcyclists need to be more approachable. We need to be more accessible. And I actually think that there's some benefit to the evolution of what's happening in motorcycling. You know, you think about it 10 years ago even, post-recession or even pre-recession, where there's a glut of motorcycle sales. I think everybody got a little lazy of that. And it also created these factions of motorcycling. You know, oh, he's a cruiser guy, oh, he's a sport bike guy, oh, he's a dirt bike guy. Man, at the end of the day, we're motorcyclists. It's two wheels that we're bonded by. And in fact, I grew up working at a motorcycle dealership, and I remember talking to people that weren't motorcyclists, and they're like, what do you love about it besides motorcycling? And I said, it's the great equalizer. You know, or leveling things, leveling the playing field. You get out and you go ride with some guy, or you meet somebody up on a road, and maybe he is a wealthy entrepreneur that makes millions of dollars, or maybe he's this guy who's living out of his Ford Courier, but he has an amazing motorcycle. Like, it doesn't matter, we're still all motorcyclists. And I think that thing that attracted us to it, we need to find a better way to share that and to be approachable, not separate ourselves off. So I mean, I make it a point every time I'm out is to try and spread that love of motorcycling outside of our community. And I personally spend a lot of time outside of motorcycling to try and understand also what the barriers are. We had an event just here in Long Beach a couple months ago where I sat in front of a bunch of marketing people in their 30s explaining to them the world of Ducati and what motorcycling offers to people. Those are the sorts of things that we need to start thinking of, because there is a characteristic that sometimes people think of motorcycling as transportation because of how the cars and transportation's evolving. Let's not think of us as transportation. We're in the entertainment business. You know, we're fighting for what people get to do with their discretionary spending and their time. And it's got to be fun, and you've got to have community, and you want to have a connection with people and product. So, like, this is the beauty of it. So yeah, I agree with you completely. These are the products that actually are fun for the street and make people inspired to want to get into the world of motorcycling.
Amen, brother.
Pleasure.
Jason.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
We really
same
appreciate
here.
it.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure, absolutely, guys.